Hoover Board of Education meeting is now called to order. If you please join me in a moment of silent prayer. Amen. Thank you. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. Salute, pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Now I ask our recording secretary, Ms. Louise White, would you please do a roll call to establish we do have a quorum.
Leanna Ballman. Here. Earl Cooper.
Here.
Craig Kelly. Kermit Kendrick. And Amy Tosnick. Here.
We do have a quorum. Craig Kelly is doing paid work, and as is Kermit. Kermit will be late. He is in Tuscaloosa with a meeting he overran. I accused him of hanging around there since Saturday's parade. He said he wasn't. He went down there today. He should be here. You have before you the agenda for tonight's board meeting. Do I have a motion to adopt the agenda?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? The agenda is approved. We will now have our recognition time. Mr. Cass.
All right. Thank you. Not sure if this is on, but I'll try to project otherwise. Some of the attendees who were scheduled to be among us last week obviously were affected by the snow, their schedules, so we had to postpone some of those, but we will recognize those who we have. I've already met a young man in the audience, Clifford Robinson, if he would come up, along with Caleb Nicholson. These two young men are just part of the cadre of Hoover City School students that are in the Academy of Craft Training downtown. They are 2 of 4. The other 2 who were recognized as Employees of the Month are Austin Muir and Paul Norris. So again, a number of metro school systems send high school students downtown to the Academy of Craft Training, and to be named an Employee of the Month is a pretty big deal. Obviously, it's a true work setting. They are high school students, but they clock in, they clock out, they have work expectations, work ethic. They show dedication to craft and exhibit teamwork. So those are some of the criteria on which this is based, and we want to congratulate these young men here with us tonight.
Hey guys, what do you want to share a little bit about, what your experience down there? We went down there and toured the facility and saw what's going on, and you guys are doing something that's incredible. And we're going to try to emulate what you're learning down there over here at some point here in the future down in River Chase. Can you talk a little bit about what it's like? Because I mean, it's really cool what you guys are doing.
It's a lot of hands-on, a lot of experience from people in the business, something you can't really find in school, in the classroom. So
you feel pretty good about what's going on, and in fact, you're going to walk out making 40, 50 grand. Well, we're proud of them because when we went down there and we started talking about the River Chase facility that we're working on now, there was a sense of concern that we were going to pull our kids out of what they're doing down there because we have, I'm not just saying this because you guys stand here, but they say we send the best kids down there to the Academy of Craft. Thank you guys for representing us.
Another huge accolade for Hoover City Schools, the State Department of Education, Department of Pupil Transportation, or something very bureaucratic sounding like that. They annually inspect school bus fleets for the 138 or so school systems in the state. Hoover City Schools had a perfect inspection score this past December when Montgomery came up here to take a look at our 160 so school buses. Mr. Bradford, our transportation coordinator, is in the back. I believe he has a number of transportation employees with him. It's important to note we've had was it fewer than 10% deficiencies for the past 20 or so years, but this is the first year that we've had a perfect score. So if you guys would come up and we'll congratulate him.
As Jason said, we've had less than 10% deficiencies for the last 20 years, but the ladies and gentlemen in our department have worked very hard this year to obtain this perfect score. This is everything, bumper to bumper, from the tires to the roof, every light bulb. They even check to see if the lens covers are sun faded, so it's very, they get pretty well in depth, so we're very proud of this. I'm very proud of the ladies and gentlemen in our department.
The Alabama Music Educators Association held its annual conference in Birmingham at the BJCC last week. Hoover City Schools had a very great representation this annual conference, which is the professional development for music teachers in K-12 across Alabama. Spain Park was invited to perform, as was the Hoover High School Senior Honors Band. I believe Sally Vine's wife from Hoover High School had a jazz ensemble there. With us tonight is John Kincaid and Amanda Slade. They would come forward. They're right, I'm looking all over the audience, and they're right in front of me. Okay, and they can tell us, let's give them a round of applause.
Great. Just to talk a little bit about this event, like Mr. Gaston said, it is the premier stage in the state of Alabama and highest recognition to receive as a performing group. We're very proud of all of our schools that performed. It was the jazz band first edition from Hoover High School, the senior honors choir, and Spain Park's chamber choir that all performed. We've also, just to show the history and tradition of excellence, we've had Rachel Smith at Berry Middle School took her choir last year to perform at NEA. We also have other situations that show recognition for Hoover City Schools. Ms. Slade presented an interest session at this year's event, which has to be approved and applied for, so that's pretty incredible. We'd like to thank all of you, but also the board in supporting what we do. We know, I'm sure that Jim and Sally would say the same thing, we are beholden and dependent on the incredible teachers that we have at the elementary schools and middle schools to set an incredible foundation, and they have great choirs in their own right. But that sets us at a place farther down the road than most people in our state, and we're very aware of that. So we appreciate what the board does to make sure that those staff are qualified and passionate all the time. So thank you very much for this recognition. We're excited to be here. And we'd love to stay, but we have a rehearsal. Thank you.
And that concludes our recognition. Oh, excuse me.
Yes.
Dr. Murphy will come to the podium and make an announcement.
All right, follow directions.
Board members, as you know, every January we spend some time celebrating you. And so I just want to thank you. We have a proclamation for our board. This is something that Alabama Association of School Boards, and we happen to have a representation here this evening for a couple of reasons. One, I'm sure to celebrate this moment with us, but they'll also be talking with you in a few minutes. But may I just take just a minute to say to you, rather than reading the whereas, and now the therefores, let me, as your superintendent, say to you, thank you. You all make me a better superintendent. You are exceptionally thoughtful. You challenge me in appropriate ways. You ask good critical questions that takes me to a different level of thinking and makes me analyze and process, and y'all don't allow me to do that little skimpy thinking. Y'all make me get in there and work hard. And I appreciate the way that you all challenge me. It does make me, I believe, a better superintendent. And my friendships with you all makes me a better person. And so I just want to thank you. There are lots of principles. Principles run up here real quickly. All of these principals have done various and sundry things for you this evening. You'll see that in our back room, we have everything from bundt cakes to umbrellas. Everything is in compliance with the law. We have not violated any ethics laws. But I want to thank the principals who are here. They are here representing all their other colleagues. And I don't want to say on behalf of them, I want to pitch to them. Is there anything any of you would like to say to our board members? And thank you for representing all of our principals this evening.
I think really just to echo what you said, Dr. Murphy, and we couldn't do this without y'all's support and y'all's continued challenging and pushing us, so thank you.
Well, you're where the rubber meets the road, though. We thank you.
I will say this again publicly. I think most of my principals have heard me say this. The challenge between being a superintendent and a principal is a no-brainer. My job is much less difficult than yours, and I've sat in both seats. So I know the complexities of day-to-day leadership in a school, student issues and parents with concerns and teachers with concerns and the things that you do all day. And it's an appropriate time for me to thank you too, along with our board. So thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Murphy. This time we have public participation. Is there any? Yes, ma'am.
Hi, I'm Janet Turner with the Hoover City Schools Foundation. And a couple of things. One, an announcement that our grant cycle is opening this week. And it's very different from previous years in that it's 2 steps this year. So the first step is very simple. It's a 1-pager. Just tell us your idea. So principals who are in the room, just so you know and can share this with your faculty, it's 6 quick questions. Tell us your idea. Tell us a little bit about it. If it's something we would like to hear more about, then you apply. So that way the teachers don't go through the whole arduous process of the full application only to get turned down if it doesn't meet our criteria. So we're excited about that change and look for that this week. And then we at the foundation would also like to thank the school board in recognition of School Board Recognition Month or Appreciation Month. Thank y'all for all you do for our students and our faculty, and you know, we're here for our kids, and we know you are too, and we really appreciate all you do. Thank you.
Thank you.
A little gift, and I promise it's de minimis.
It's not one of those $30 butt cakes, is it?
It's not.
Anyone else, public participation? Now we have the action items. You have before you the meeting minutes from the regular board meeting on December 12th, 2017. Dr. Murphy,
I recommend your approval of December 12th board minutes, please.
do you have a motion on the superintendent's recommendation for approval of these minutes?
So moved.
Do you have a second?
Second.
Any questions from the board? We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Anyone opposed? The minutes are approved. We also have the minutes from the special call board meeting of December 19th. Dr. Murphy?
Again, my recommendation is your approval of our minutes, special call board meeting December 19th.
Okay. Do I have a motion on the superintendent's recommendation for approval of these minutes? A second?
Second.
Any questions? We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? The minutes are approved. Next item on the agenda would be personnel actions. Dr. Murphy?
You have before you our personnel report. This report includes 14 employments, 1 transfer, 2 change of leave status, 3 leave of absence requests, 5 resignations, 1 bus liability insurance trainee requesting your approval, and 2 bus liability insurance waivers. Board members, I recommend to you the approval of the personnel report.
Okay, do you have a motion on the superintendent's recommendation for approval of personnel report?
So moved.
That means, do I have a second?
Second.
Any questions from you? Have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? The personnel report is approved. Next item on the agenda would be business actions. Dr. Murphy?
Tina, would you please share with us, under business actions, and there will be 3 requests for approval, the monthly financial cash disbursements and also payroll for December 2017.
Yes, thank you. What you have in your packet tonight is the financial statements that are reconciled through the bank statements as of November 30, 2017. This is the second month in the fiscal year of 2018. At this point, 16.48% of our budget revenue has been received for the month end November 30th. Currently, that is a variance favorable to the current time or the prior year November of $963,000. The variance is due to a slight increase in some state funds, tax receipts, and then we received some late federal fund payments at that time. Normally, for 2 months of activity, 17% of our budget would have been anticipated to have been spent in expenditures. Currently, we are at 16.11% of expenditures as of November 30. The general fund expenditures are up a little bit, comparable to the period a prior year of 1.6 million. That is due to the turf and track replacement invoices that we have received at from Spain Park and Hoover High, the roof replacements at Rocky Ridge and Simmons, and the Hoover High band room. We've already started to receive some of those invoices. We should still see some more of those invoices throughout the month of December, and we have already received some for January as well for those actual projects. The special revenue fund expenditures for the 2 months activities were 3.9 million or 19.9% of the budget. Special revenue expenditures are 428,000 more than the comparable period for 2017 due to the fall semester travel and training that we normally have early in the fall. Classroom supplies and local school expenditures. We do ask that once we give those allocations out to the school that they spend those funds as soon as possible. And with that, we also have our cash disbursements for November 2017 of $4,535,174.12. For payroll, our December 2017 payroll was $8,060,191.46.
Moving on.
It is, always.
Board members, I'd like to request your approval of the 3 items under business action.
I have a motion. Do I have a motion to approve the superintendent's recommendation? Kermit, Bowman.
Thank you.
Do I have a motion to approve the superintendent's recommendation for the approval of these business actions? Do I have a second?
Second.
Any questions from the board? I have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? No opposed? Business actions are approved. Next items on the agenda are 4 job descriptions that are both relevant and interesting and progressive.
Yes. I am requesting, board members, that you approve 4 job descriptions. The first job description is for career and technical education specialist. This is a job description that as you read it, you'll see that it is specific to supporting our career center, and also a job description written in such a way to be supportive of the director that will be assigned to the program. There's also a career and technical education teacher job description. When we presented to you back in March 99 job descriptions, we had included simply a teacher job description, but as we thought about career technical education, we believe that we need to be more specific in the writing of that job description rather than just a general teacher. So this is a career tech teacher job description. The third is college and career specialist. This is not a new position. It is an existing position, but simply failed to have that in your packet back in March. And as we've looked at our career center, we discovered that was one of our missing, or that was a missing job description. So would ask your approval of that this evening. And then lastly, coordinator of information technologies. As we look at our IT department, and you'll see in a presentation that we'll do this evening, there are lots of opportunities and lots of challenges, right, Brian, wherever he is, in our IT department, and certainly recognize the additional need for support on the technical side of the house. And so this would be a new position that would be filled upon your agreement to the job description. I present to you the 4 job descriptions and ask your approval of those, please.
Thank you. Do I have a motion from the superintendent's recommendation to approve the 4 job descriptions for career tech ed specialist, career tech ed teacher, college career specialist, and coordinator of IT. Those 4 job descriptions.
Second.
May I add one thing? Under the career technical education teacher, this is also the job description that will cover our Air Force JROTC teacher. You may be aware that ROTC falls under the auspices of the Career Tech Education Program. So again, as we start our new program at Hoover High School, JROTC Air Force, this is an important job description for them likewise.
Have a motion and a second. Anybody have any questions on any of the job descriptions?
I do, please. So the first 2 job descriptions, are they primarily for the Career Tech Center?
So the career and technical education specialist, yes, that would be for our career center. And the career and technical education teacher is a job description for all career tech teachers now. Again, because originally we simply put them under teacher, we feel like we should be more specific. So whether these teachers are located at their respective schools or at the center, this would be their job description.
Cover both. Should we put in here then that school principal and or director?
Let's see where you are. That's on the.
On the career tech education teacher.
Certainly I think that would be appropriate. Yeah,
I mean, if we have,
that's a good catch. Yep.
okay.
Let's edit that. So reports to school principal, do we want to say, and or other assigned supervisors, or what's a good language there?
Administrator?
Okay, school principal / other administrators, which you have a
The
preference?
idea is that for the career tech centers to have more of a director, not a principal.
That's correct. So at their schools, the report would be to the principal, at the career tech center to the director. You wanna direct us on that?
Well, the other option would be that once we do figure out that precise structure for the Career Tech Center, we could always amend the description if we wanted to, if we're not exactly sure how that might play out. Whether you may have some departmental supervision at the center, for example, or whether you're gonna have one director or assistant directors, or when we figure out how we want that chain of command sort of to be at the center, then perhaps we can do it that way. Or we can put a placeholder, as Ms. Beal says, other supervisory administrator or other administrator, something like that, and then fill that in once we get the plan for the center there kind of nailed down in terms of that chain of command.
Okay, I know that
Unless we know today,
I think we do, and that is that our career tech teachers at the center will report to the director. So I
would say
think
director then.
school principal / other supervising administrators, is that appropriate?
Or you could go ahead and just spell it out and say the career tech director.
Director?
That way it makes clear that
Okay.
these folks aren't reporting to an assistant principal, for example, instead of the principal. It's that building level administrator.
/ and or career tech.
Whatever the
Well, we've
official.
gotta be careful there, Ron, because you have Dr. Smith, who's our career tech director. This is the director of the career center.
Should we table it?
Center
Let's-
director.
Yeah, career center director. Could we do that?
Director sounds okay, I mean, but it sounds like we wanna put another level between the teacher and the director.
No, we want,
The director functions as a principal of that
Yeah.
building.
we won't have a principal in that building because the students remain a part of their high schools. So the teachers over there would report to the career center director. So career center director sounds good to me.
Sounds good.
Is that acceptable? So if I could, and thank you for that, let's make an edit under the career technical education teacher to read school principal, career center director.
And or?
I was gonna put just it'll be an and or, yes. Squid, any concerns about that?
No, I think those persons will probably have some reporting responsibilities to both individuals, given that they'll be under the center, but also under your high school curriculum as well.
With that edit, I would ask your approval.
All right. Do I have a motion to approve the superintendent's recommendation with the edit that says for the teacher job description for the Career Tech Ed Center, that the reporting relationship will be to the school principal and/or career center director? That would be the change to amend the job description.
So
Have a second?
Second.
Any further questions? Have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Anyone opposed? Job descriptions are approved as amended. YMCA school participation agreement for after-school program, Dr. Murphy.
Board members, we've had several conversations about a collaborative relationship with our YMCA. We were approached by YMCA, some of the directors of YMCA. Matter of fact, our foundation, Education Foundation, asked me to sit at the table with them and the YMCA and take a look at what they have to offer. And I would say to you, as I think I've said in other forums, the program that the YMCA has curriculum-wise is absolutely exceptional and is certainly superior to what we are doing in Hoover at this time with our after-school program. So after a number of conversations with the Y and after having Whit Colvin, our attorney, address this agreement, I would recommend your approval this evening of the YMCA After School Academy School Participation Agreement. I would like to also add that there is nothing about this design that says Hoover City Schools no longer cares about kids and how they get taken care of after school.
Who would say that?
I don't know. We are passionate about what we do during the academic day, but we also respect the fact that parents need to have a place that's safe for their children. It is not our primary goal as a school board to necessarily provide after-school care, but it's something that we have done, and given this curriculum is certainly superior to what we currently do, I do make this recommendation to you for YMCA after-school care for our school children.
Dan? Or who's Dan? Julie? Can you introduce your team, please?
Sure. I'm Dan Pyle. I'm the CEO of the YMCA Greater Birmingham. We have Rhonda Elmore. Greg Wyant is our board chair. Julie Brode and Stuart Griffin, our new COO of the YMCA Birmingham. We're happy to be a part of the Hoover school system.
Well, thank you, and thank everyone, because, you know, it's, how'd you get this idea?
The Education Foundation, our foundation brought it to my attention, and was happy to have them share. I think we have some of our foundation folks who also serve on the board of directors, so they knew about the exceptional program and said, hey, take a look. I pushed back for a while, as I recall.
So I like you.
I know. But I'm glad we had the occasion to sit down, learn more about that program, and my staff, many on my staff have looked at the program, and we're all in, and we believe it'll serve our children better than we are currently serving them, at least from curriculum.
I've got to make one comment on this because I kind of saw it from the very beginning, and that is, it's very difficult to make wholesale changes in a big way. An after-school program was a big thing for the school district. And to bring something absolutely new and different than what we've already got that is sort of working pretty well is, most people don't like change. And to credit the foundation who brought the idea forth, and Dan and Julie and his team, talk to Dr. Murphy, and to sit there and go through this where it's mutually beneficial and it'd be the absolute best thing for learning and development for our kids. It was just it's a great thing to watch, and we're so blessed just to have this thing fall in our lap, frankly. I believe very strongly in what it's going to produce for us and our children. So Thank you for being receptive to it. Thank you, Dan, and your team for bringing forth the idea and the foundation for telling us about it to begin with. It's kind of a partnership. Yeah. Jody.
Yes, sir. What kind of money have we been spending? What kind of money? Is this a savings, or I'm a little confused as to exactly what's going on. What kind of money have we been spending on the after-school programs, and what is this? How does this compare and fit in with what we're doing? Is it savings, or?
Yeah, I don't know specific dollar amount. It's comparable. It's a comparable, but it's more than just child sitting. It's actual curriculum-based, program-based activity. That's something that with people who've been screened and trained and all. So while the numbers should be similar, they may not be exact. It's not going to be some exorbitant amount of money. And the other thing about it here, to me, that was a real selling point, is that the YMCA, the Hoover YMCA specifically, raises money every year. And what part of the money they use can be used for scholarships to let kids come to this who otherwise would not be able to do it. And so, you know, the possibilities and the good for the district is just remarkable to me.
I'm with you. What kind of money though on an annual basis? How much money?
200 and change a month, I think, for 4 weeks.
Yeah, our students have been paying a tuition, and they will continue to pay a tuition now to the YMCA, and their basis that will be their decision as to what the tuition is. However, I do not anticipate that that's going to be extremely different than what it currently is, but I don't speak for the Y. So if you guys want to make any comments, I defer to you.
Well, I'll just answer it this way, is that the YMCA is a not-for-profit. So any surpluses that we would create are plowed right back into the program. Because our model is a little different, the price structure will change slightly. As I said earlier, what we're trying to do is generate enough revenue so we can put back into those curriculums and programs that we spoke of. Our model assures that the school system will get the same amount of money they're currently getting out of the program or run it themselves. So that'll make sure that the Board of Ed is able to maintain its current needs from a financial point of view. So we have yet to establish the exact prices. They will be different, but one of the things that we have committed to is that we will assure that all families are able to participate in the program regardless of their household needs, so no one's turned away. So we have a whole different model that we'll be happy to discuss. We intend to have some open forums so that people get educated. We know what misinformation is like. If you don't have it, it gets filled. So we aim to have these meetings so that everybody has a chance to ask the questions that in a more specific moment. Is that adequate for today? Thanks, sir.
Yes,
Thank you.
I appreciate the question.
Yes, sir.
And I will say, our number one goal is to help children reach their full potential, and I think the partnership really helps us fulfill that.
It helps us help you. Okay. We have a motion on the superintendent's recommendation for the approval of the YMCA school participation agreement.
Second.
Second. Any questions from the board? Have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? The YMCA school participation agreement for after school program has been approved. Next agenda item will be the bus bid.
Board members, I'd like to request your approval of bid 2018-02 for special needs buses, or bus. We had 2 responsive bidders, Transportation South and Southland, and it is the lowest bid that was responsive was that of Transportation South. I'd like to recommend your approval of that, please.
Do I have a motion on the superintendent's recommendation for the approval of the bus bid?
Second.
Second. Any questions from the board? Have a motion and a second. All in favor? Anyone opposed? Bus bid 2018-02 is approved. Next item on the agenda would be the city's request for 0.013 acres for permanent acquired right of way. Tim, that's the smallest you've ever asked for, buddy.
I can make it bigger.
Tim actually briefly is going to address two matters, is that correct?
That's correct, yes, ma'am.
He is going to ask our approval of the .013 acre for a permanent acquired right-of-way, and second will be a request for temporary construction easement for a new parking lot for the benefit of the school district adjacent to our transportation operations building.
That's correct, exactly what you said right there. No, I appreciate the opportunity to be here. I presented last month to the board the .013 acres request for a little bit of property that the school board owns to help us make the improvement at the intersection of Stadium Trace Parkway and Learning Lane and Brock's Gap Parkway. We're rapidly approaching the time for us to go to construction. We're trying to tie up all of the right of way right now.
We know we're gonna put a Go Buck sign right there in the piece of property.
Well, you know, what happens there after the construction, we don't know telling, but we would appreciate your consideration on that. And you want to vote on one at a time?
Now, we can look it up.
Okay, the second is exactly what Dr. Murphy said, which is some additional parking located behind the bus barn. The city council authorized the awarding of a bid for construction of what I call the South Access Road. It's the connector road from Brock's Gap Middle School up to the high school. So Bumpus, I'm sorry. Guys, change the name on me and I always get it wrong. But it actually is east of our park, and it does provide access to our park property, but also provides access from the Hoover High Ring Road down to Bumpus. And in doing so, we're wiping out some of your existing parking that is located along the frontage of the bus barn there. And so we wanted to return that parking to you. In order for us to do that, to get behind your bus barn, we needed a temporary construction easement to do that, and that's what this request is.
Thank you.
Board members, I'd like to recommend your approval of both the request of the city.
Do you have a motion on the superintendent's recommendation for the approval of the city's request for .0013 acres for permanent acquired right-of-way and for construction easement over there behind the bus barn?
So moved.
Have a second?
Second.
Any questions? Have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? You're approved, Mr.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Next item on the agenda will be new business and superintendent's report and some information report, just a host of things, and we're gonna start off with.
Yes. If we could have Susan Salter, who'll come up and address the board as it relates to the superintendent's evaluation.
Good evening. We are honored to be working with you guys. I'm not quite tall enough for this podium. We are honored to be working with y'all again this year for the fourth year on your superintendent's evaluation. And so I'm here tonight to just say that we're about to kick off the process and just provide you a little bit of information about how that will work again. As we did last year, this will be a 360-degree evaluation of Dr. Murphy. It will include instruments completed by the individual board members, instruments completed by her direct reports, which are her central office leaders and principals, and then instruments completed by her community constituents. These will be folks not chosen as individuals, but chosen for the positions they hold. Typically, these are your PTA leaders, usually a couple of city fathers, chamber leadership, education foundation leaders, industrial development, that sort of thing. So you get a good representation of the community, and you get folks who, because of their position, would have either interacted with Dr. Murphy directly or the school system directly, or who, because of their position, would have some reason to be paying particular attention to the operation of the school system. In choosing positions rather than choosing individuals, you also eliminate the potential for somebody trying to change the outcome of the evaluation by getting only the friends and family to fill it out. So it will, these are the same groups that participated last year. The board will complete an instrument that has 10 categories and 57 indicators. It is the most comprehensive because obviously she reports directly to this board. The direct reports instrument will not be categorized, but will have 30 indicators that get at the way they interact with her as her employee. And then the stakeholder instrument has 14 indicators. It is also not categorized, but gets at the broader picture, communication skills, general leadership, that sort of thing. Just a reminder, this is the same rating scale we used last year. You see it's a 5-point rating scale. Dr. Murphy, I understand, is going to do sort of a state of the state address or update when as part of this meeting. And that's something that we do strongly recommend before the board and your constituents launch into this evaluation. It is important that you look at the year as a whole, obviously, and not, a particular incident, because this is a comprehensive evaluation of her performance over this last year. This rating scale, as you can see, is intended to take the broad view. I will point out that a 3 meets expectations. Nobody is a rock star in every category. And so part of what we pledge to you as we look at this, we will bring you results that look like that for the category for the board that show you the big picture. Because at the end of the day, what matters is what you say as a team, not individually. But because averages can sometimes hide individual differences, we will also provide results in a format that looks like that so that you can see how each board member rated her. I will point out this is not last year's evaluation, but you see that it's important to notice whether or not the board was pretty unanimous in its rating of each indicator or whether or not there was a great bit of disparity. That is helpful for her in knowing how to relate to the board and also any areas that might be identified for improvement. We will give you the results for the direct reports and the stakeholders in a way that looks like this. And I will point out, while you will get board member results disaggregated like this, stakeholder and direct reports will come in this form. There's simply too many to try to disaggregate them in a chart that would make any sense at all. But I mentioned that 3 meets expectations, which is she's doing what you expect. 4 is above average, 5 demonstrates excellence. If there is anybody or several anybody's in the direct report and stakeholder group that consistently rated performance at a 1 or a 2, or consistently rated performance at a 5, we will note that in the report. So even though you don't have it broken out in disaggregated, we will try to give you that context. So that you know if there was an axe to grind, with an individual that might have skewed the scores, or somebody just said she was hitting it out of the park in all categories. We just think that context is important. Are there any questions I can answer on the process?
No, I just want to thank you for coming up here and explaining how it's done, what's been done, the fact that it is consistent with last year. So we do have some longitudinal review as far as the presentation coming up on this. The importance of an annual look, and so the state of the school district presentation should be very insightful as well. And the fact that you are a third party, and I don't tell you what to do, you don't tell me what you're going to do, except what the right thing is a good thing, and that's important for the outcome. So thank you very much.
We're looking forward to working
Any
with
questions
you.
for Sue? Colonel?
No.
Questions?
No.
I'll mention one other thing that I failed to say, and that is that these instruments are all online, all 3 sets of instruments. And so, they're completely anonymous. So the board members, like I said, will be disaggregated, but that, I won't be able to tell you which one was Kermit's versus Amy's, and certainly not for your stakeholders and your direct reports.
I think the other thing that's important too, from the Alabama Association of School Boards doing this for us, is that they see a lot of school districts. They see a lot of superintendents. They do a lot of evaluations. And so there's one thing to get numerical feedback and some comments, but it's a whole other thing to interpret relative to other things going on in other districts that we would have to not know anything about, that you would.
We'll look back at last year's evaluations and try to do some of the longitudinal comparisons that you mentioned, and also try to put it in context of what we see. And it will highlight strengths in any areas for growth that are identified.
Yeah, thank you very much.
It's our pleasure. We look forward to working with you.
And you will be coming back and giving the presentation.
We anticipate doing that at the February meeting, unless it's the will of Kathy and the board to do it at a different time.
Let's get that.
All right, so February board meeting. Thank you.
Thank you, Susan. My head doesn't block me at the screen, though.
Yeah. Board members, I am delighted to take a few minutes of time tonight, and what I really want to do is, rather than talking about one academic year, is to be able to start to look at Hoover City Schools in a longitudinal fashion. If I wanted to show you what a super duper school district we have, and we do, I might simply show you tonight our school data as it relates to that of the state, because we're exceptional as it relates to where we are in relation to the state as a whole. I could bring to you data that says, hey, here is how we compare to school districts of similar size and or over the mountain. But what I think is best is for us to just take a look at Hoover City Schools, and let's compare us to us, at least as it looks over a 3-year period of time. So having said that, this is an overview of where we're headed with this presentation, and our timeline is a 3-year look at this school district. I want to state an absolute obvious and a constant about this school district, and that is we are a terrific school district. There is no exception to that. You can look at us academically, you can look at us athletically, you can look at our clubs, organizations, the way that they perform, from Scholars Bowl to debates to law, to take a choice. And as you see at board meetings every month, we bring before you outstanding students and teachers who are doing terrific stuff. So I think that's an obvious, and I think it's a constant through the school district. The school district has accomplished a great deal. This was a terrific school district before I was ever thought of, and it'll be a great school district after I'm long since gone. So lots of accomplishments in the school district over time, to include the last 3 years. But there are also areas of focus. And so what you'll see is a very honest, straight up presentation of what's good and what needs some time and attention. So just to give you the framework, first of all, let's talk about our student profile. We have 13,997 students enrolled in our school district. We have over 14,000 students if you consider our preschool students. Our highest enrollment is, Hoover High School with 2,883 students. Our lowest enrollment is 317 students at Shades Mountain. We are an extremely diverse community. We see that even in languages spoken. We have 131 languages being spoken in our school district. We have 736 English language learners, which is 5% of our population. Our racial composition is 60% white, 24% Black African American, 8% who indicate 2 or more races, 7% Asian, and 1% American Indian Pacific Islander is less than 1%. Ethnic composition in our school district is 8% Hispanic and Latino. So what's really important, we'll start with first, and that is our students and how are we doing. These are our graduates. This is the 4-year cohort graduation rate. And how do we look over the last 3 years? So the class of 2015, 16, and 17 are provided for you. There is a caveat that I would point out to you in the class of 2015, 2016, and that is that special education completers were included in that data. That makes the class of 2017 different because special education completers were not included by the state in the class of 2017, but was the preceding 2 years. What I would also point out to you about the class of 2017 is right now these are unofficial results. We still wait for the state. These are the percentages that we have. Dr. Dotson, we should have those graduation rates confirmed by the state in short order. Hopefully.
One more year, yes.
Okay. I want to also share with you scholarship offers that our students have had over the last 3 years. And you see those amounts for Hoover High School for Spain Park. I'll specifically talk about the district. And the class of 2015 had $53.8 million of offered scholarship. $60.4 million the class of 2016 and $54.1 the class of 2017. We're obviously exceptionally proud that many of our students in Hoover get good scholarship money to go forth. But what does that actual percentage look like? So, if you will, our next slide shows the seniors that are actually being offered scholarships. Again, you see Hoover High School in Spain Park. I'll address the district. 49.2% of our students in the class of 2015 had scholarship offers. 2016 was 45.4%. And the class of 2017 had, of those seniors, 46.2% of them had scholarship offers. We would like for that number to increase, and so that's an area of focus for us. We want to bring as much scholarship money to our students as we can. We want as many students receiving scholarship money as possible. Okay? Let's look academically at college readiness as we see the ACT scores. This is for our graduating class. I do want to note that this is the last test that was taken. For some of our students, that would have been the test they took as a junior. Many of our other students continue to take the ACT, perhaps trying to get a higher score to get additional scholarship money or into college. You see Hoover High School in Spain Park for our district in English on the ACT, the last test taken of the ACT. Our district, 77% of our students in the class of 2015 were ready for English readiness. This is based on an ACT score that would be associated with them earning a C or a B in college English composition. So we had 77% in the class of 2015, 75% in the class of 2016, and 76% in the class of 2017. Again, as you'll look at these percentages, we just simply want to get those higher and higher so that our students are evidencing that they're college ready, in this case for college English composition. In math, for the district, class of 2015, 48% of those students evidence readiness for college. In this case, math readiness on the ACT is associated with a C or a B in college algebra. And actually, that's more of a pre-calculus at the college level. So again, class of 2015, 48% were considered college ready. Class of 2016, 47%. And class of 2017, 44%. These are not the percentages we want to see, and they're headed in a direction that we don't want to see. And we want to continue to give major focus to math in our school district. One of our points of struggle in math seems to be with our algebra class. 9th grade algebra, we see lots of students struggling with that piece. We have talked about pushing that Algebra 1 piece earlier in the offerings for our students. Many of our schools that are doing better in math are offering Algebra 1 at the 8th grade level, which we do. We do not have a large percentage of our 8th graders taking Algebra 1 at the 8th grade level, and we want to raise the bar because we believe more students that get into earlier math advanced tracks, the better all of our students will be. So we're really giving study and thought to our math ACT. In reading, again, reading readiness is based on the ACT score associated with being able to earn a C or a B in college social science. Social science is so heavy with the reading that this is the way that is assessed. So for the district, class of 2015, 56% showed readiness for college work, 54% in the class of 2016, and 55% in our class of 2017. Again, we want higher percentages in our reading area, and as you know, unfortunately in education, what sometimes happens is we give more focus one year on math, we pull those scores a little bit up, and the reading suffers. We get a focus on reading and spend lots of time and attention in professional development, and the math scores sometimes slip. We've got to find a way to make sure that we're intentional in being progressive in all of our academic areas. In the area of science, Hoover High School's famed part, let's talk about the district. Science readiness is based on an ACT score that would be associated with earning a C or a B in college biology. And for the district, class of 2015, 48% were college ready. Class of 2016, 45% ready. And the class of 2017, 45% are ready. On our composite score for the district, the class of 2015, 22.5%. The composite score was 22.5. The class of 2016, 22.5. And the class of 2017, 22.3. So we're being fairly consistent in that composite score, but we don't want to see any dips. And again, if you were to look at us against the state and the national, on ACT, we actually exceed composite score, both state and national. Is that right, Dr. Dotson? Give me some affirmation over there. Okay. Yes, sir.
Every student has to take the ACT, right? Doesn't matter if you're going to college or not.
Unless they specifically exclude themselves.
Right, yeah. So it's interesting because there are kids that we know are not going to go to college, and you know, there's no excuse for them not performing well in ACT, but it just shows the opportunity we're going to provide in River Chase on the career tech side of it.
Yes, sir.
And so the whole notion of being able to serve all kids, regardless if it's career tech, through the YMCA after school, through ACT 2- and 4-year college, it's amazing what we're doing.
Thank you. Let's look at advanced placement. The number of exams that we've attempted at our 2 high schools, let's look at district. We have increased actually 39% since 2015 in the numbers of students who are taking advanced placement exams. In 2015, we gave 1,440 exams. In 2016, 1,508. In 2017, 1,988. And so we're giving more advanced placement exams. Let's take a look next at the qualifying score. So you're giving more exams, but what does that look like? And so, again, looking at the district, a qualifying score for AP is a score of 3 or higher. And so for the district in 2015, 64.2 of those qualifying scores demonstrated college readiness. In 2016 was 63.9 and 2017 was 62.9. Tis the season for the scratchy throat. Looking at International Baccalaureate, the exams that we gave at Hoover High School, again, as you know, the only IB program is at Hoover High School. 2015, we gave 257 exams, 2016, 223, and in 2017, 176 exams were given in IB. The qualifying scores in 2015, 79.3, 80.3 in 2016, and 75 for 2017 exams. When we look at dual enrollment, which is important to us likewise, for the district, class of 2015, 5.7% of our seniors took and accessed credit in dual enrollment class of 2015. Class of 2016, that was 4.1. And by the class of 2017, that it increased to 11.3% of the class of 2017 is earning some credit using dual enrollment as a strategy and opportunity. National merit, Hoover High School in Spain Park for our district. I think I should back up. There is a appeal in process for students who were not marked by the deadline at Spain Park. Is that right?
That should have been on the previous slide, yeah.
What's
Wrong place. Scratch.
Yeah, but anyway, that does apply to the previous slide.
Okay.
There should be more students in that dual enrollment number for Spain Park in 2016.
And we have appealed. We missed a deadline on that, so we should have more, again, Spain Park high school students in the dual enrollment piece. So excuse I had that misplaced. National merit semifinalist for the district, we had 14 in the class of 2015. We had 14 in the class of 2016 for the district. In the class of 2017, we had 10. We love getting our students to this level of recognition and hope to have more students. Let's talk about ACT work keys. Our seniors who are earning NCRC, that's the National Career Readiness Certificate. There, as you may know, there's a silver, a gold, a platinum, I believe even a bronze. And so what you have before you are the percentages of our students who are showing career readiness by taking the ACT work keys. For the district in the class of 2015, 65.1 demonstrated that readiness, 72.8 in the class of 2016, and that increased to 76.7 with the class of 2017. The career credentials, an opportunity for a career credential is an industry-approved, ready-to-work certificate that our students can acquire. When you look at our district, we had 1.8% of our students, class of 2015, who demonstrated career readiness through the career credentials, 1.7 with the class of 2016, and pleased to see that headed in the direction with a 5.2 with the class of 2017. Military enrollment, our seniors, they have to be a senior and enroll. If they wait a day after they've graduated and go military, we get no credit for that. But here are our military enrollments. For the district, 1.4% of our class of 2015 enrolled, 0.5 in 2016, and 1.6 with the class of 2017. This is interesting data. Career readiness. We have some students who are not planning to attend college after high school. And what's interesting is how this percentage is increasing. So if you look at Hoover High School and Spain Park, but let's look at the district together, the class of 2015, not planning to attend college, we had 5.4% of the class of 2015 that did not have plans to go to college. The class of 2016 was 11.1%. And the class of 2017 is 13.2. So we're seeing some incremental increases in the numbers of our students who are saying, I don't plan to go to college. On the AC, which if we back up, this is even more evidence to why we need to make sure that our career center is a successful center, because not all of our students are going to college. We know they're not. We have some students who go to college and they play a year and they get brought home. And what we don't want to do is to have our students coming home, even if they choose college, coming home without a college degree. And by the way, I don't have a skill set either. So for those individuals in our community who believe that the Career Center is only about kids who have no plans to go to college, we have a number of kids who go to college, many of them exceptionally successful, but many go and come back. And many go and could have some additional skill sets that they could take to their college experience and maybe make some money and help work their way through college with some of what they could learn in our Career Center. So again, I believe that we're spot on as we're moving toward our Career Center. Okay? ACT Aspire, and we won't get into the conversation of, how many times we've changed tests or how many times we've changed state superintendents, but we will just talk about ACT Aspire grades 3 through 8. And you see those scores for English, math, reading, and science. We are seeing increases in English, an incremental increase over the 3 years. You see an incremental increase in math. You see the same with reading, and you see the same with science. So this is significant evidence over a 3-year period of time of achievement for our grades 3 through 8. Our grades 4 through 8, this is a growth model. Are our students growing? Obviously, what we want at a minimum is for 180 days of school for us to see an academic year of growth. And so this is a growth chart here. In English, you see 83 to 84 to 80. Math was almost 86, 89 to 86. In our reading, our growth percentage of our students, 84.9 in reading, 82.2 and 83.2 in science. For the class of 2015, that test was not administered. That started with the class of 2016. You see that score 83.7 to the class of 2017, 82.5. This means, if you back up 1 minute, these are students who are showing 1 year or more of learning gains, and that's the percentage of those students showing those learning gains. We've had people in our community who've said to us, we don't understand federal report cards and state report cards, and as you may well know, the state report cards are embargoed until February 1. And however, we've made some predictions, so we're not sitting on our hands just waiting for the state to tell us what those scores look like. But Ron has been doing some calculations for us, and so we'll share with you some of our predictions. But I wanted to put this slide in so that you can see that the way the federal report card is looked at is a little different than the way the state report card is calculated. And so federal report card, there's no overall score. The state report card is there's an overall score or letter grade. All students are considered under the federal report card, but for the state report card, you have to have been with us a full academic year for us to count your scores. Federal report card data is not weighted for a score of close or exceeding, but the data is weighted on the state report card. Federal report card does not include growth, but the state report card does. Graduates are based on the 4-year cohort, and on the state report card, graduates are based on 4-year cohort, and we can get some credit for those students who take an additional year or are part of a 5th-year cohort. College and career ready is based on graduates. The college and career ready for the state is based on that 4-year cohort. Math, reading, and science are included on the federal report card, math and reading only on the state. And the federal report card includes teacher credential information, and the state report card includes chronic student absenteeism. So I say that to you to just say that there are some different look-tos, there are some different data points that are being used when we talk about the federal report card to the state. So with having set that stage, let's look at federal report card, our achievement. This is only for grades 3, 8, and 10. And our report card for achievement in math is a 67. In reading is a 57.7. And science is a 56.4. This is for grades 5, 7, and 10 only on the science. Remember, the science is a bit of an outlier there. Other measures on our federal report card. Our graduation class for the rate for the class of 2016, 93%. For the class of 2016, those they consider college and career ready, 88% of our students. Teachers with master's degrees or higher, and this is teachers only. This does not include administrators. 66% of our teachers have master's degrees or higher, and teachers with alternative certificates is 1%. The state report card, this is a prediction. Again, remember that the official results are embargoed until February 1. Our predictions are, and we have had an opportunity to look at our state report cards, and we're in the ballpark. We're exceptionally close in the ballpark. Our achievement, we believe, will be around 82%. In math, will be 87.4-ish. reading will be 76 to 77. Our growth should be 100% in the math and reading areas. Our prediction is that graduation rate will be 92.7. College and career readiness will be 82.7. Chronic absenteeism is now counting against us. And we have 10.2% of our students with chronic absenteeism. Y'all will have to excuse me, it's that. Could you talk about the chronic absenteeism for just a minute?
Yes, so chronic absenteeism is 10%, and that would be if the student had a parent note. So if it's okay. Chronic absenteeism will be 10% of the days that students are absent, and that includes any type absence. So if it's an excused absence or if it's unexcused. So we in the district allow 9 parent letters right now according to policy. So with this, we will be revisiting our policy to look at the number of parent letters that we accept. Any other questions
So the
about chronic
10.2%, do I look at that and say we have 13,000 students, 10% of them are chronically?
I'm sorry, 10%, if you miss more than 10%, we thought it would be 10%, but the State Department has said 15 days would be chronic absenteeism now. So that would be per student. If you have 15 unexcused or excused absences or more, then you're considered chronic. You're considered to have chronic absenteeism.
So that's 10% of our students?
I'm sorry, let me correct what I said originally. We thought every meeting that someone attended, we were told that 10% of the student days, if you miss 10% or more, you would be considered.
180 days, so 18 days missed.
Is it what we had looked at, but that has since been changed according to what the state report card will be. Chronic absenteeism is now 15 days or more. So instead of 18.
Used to be 9 a semester.
What used to, we thought it would be 10%. 10%, our students go to school 180 calendar days. So that would have been 18. But that has since changed. And so now it is 15 days or more that a student is absent, whether that be excused or unexcused. If they have 15 or more absences, they're considered chronic absenteeism.
So in response to Mr. Kendrick's question, 10.2% of our students fall under the category of chronic absenteeism because they have exceeded the 15 days allowed, if you will.
Okay.
So to reiterate what Tara has said, thank you. You're welcome. To reemphasize that, right now we say to our students, you can be absent 9 days with a parent letter first semester, 9 days with a parent letter second semester. You can be out 18 days. By the way, you can bring in 5 more excuses or 5 excuses. Doctors can provide you all kinds of excuses. We have students who may never be really held accountable for attendance. And so we're going to have to revisit our policy that allows students to have 18 parent letters to be out 18 occasions when it's going to clearly come back and be held against us as it relates to the state report card. So that's going to be an area we're going to have to visit for sure. Did I completely confuse you?
So now it's 15 parent letters.
No,
15 days.
Our board, so we've got 2 things going on. We've got what our board allows under our code of conduct and what the state's saying is allowable. Now remember, we didn't see this chronic absenteeism coming at all. I was not aware that absenteeism was going to be one of those benchmarks. That one, I'm not sure, kind of came out of the darkness on us. And again, all of what we thought, how they were going to define that has been in transition, as Tara said. State says you can miss 15 days and not be counted under chronic absenteeism. Well, we've granted our kids 18 days to be out of school just with parent letters, and that doesn't even count other excuses. So, got to work on it. I just wanted to share a couple of things recently that I think is of interest. The New York Times December 5 article, How Effective is Your School District? A New Measure Shows Where Students Learn the Most. There's a quote from, or not a quote from it, but a data point from that, and that is that Hoover City Schools, after 5 years of instruction, the average Hoover City School student has a 5.8 years of academic gain, placing us at a national 94th percentile level. That's pretty awesome. Former U.S. Secretary of State Condoleezza Rice, in a conversation with David Axelrod, who was the chief strategist for the former President Obama, stated recently in a presentation that she had. By the way, she was advocating for school choice, so for complete transparency, that was what her conversation was about. But she said, and I quote, "So if you're of means, you will move to a district where the schools are good. You'll move to Palo Alto where the schools are good. You'll move to Hoover, Alabama where the schools are good. You'll move to Fairfax County where the schools are good." And that's kind of interesting that she would acknowledge that this is a good school district and that she would be out there touting this school district as one of those exceptional school districts. Again, her conversation was being an advocate for school choice. That's neither here nor there. It's a position she holds. But in this case, she gave us national recognition to call this a good school district. Let's talk about special education in our school district. Again, looking at 3 years, the number of students in special education has increased. I believe that's about 139 students in the last 3 years. We're getting more special needs students who are coming to us. The number of enrichment students is also increasing for us. The number of gifted students, this is based on IQ test, has increased in the last 3 years. And I wanted to also mention maintenance of efforts. So as we're thinking budgets, we know that it costs more money to educate some children than it does other children. In the case of serving special needs students in particular, we have what's called maintenance of effort. That's money above and beyond the money that's set aside to provide services for our special needs children. And I wanted to just show you how that amount of money is increasing also. The maintenance of effort money comes from our general funds support. And so in fiscal year 2015, that was right at 10.6 million, if I'm saying that correctly, 11 million in FY16, and 11.3 million in 2017. This is not up here to say, hey, we resent having to spend more of our money, but I do think it's a measure of the additional investment our school district is making into the education of all of our children. Student discipline, the total infractions for the last 3 years, we started out school year 14-15, we had at the end of the year 3,805 discipline referrals, which gave us an average discipline referral per day in the school district of 21. School year 15-16, 4,329 gave us an average discipline referral per day of 24. And then school year 16-17 last year, a total of 3,459 discipline referrals to our office, which was an average discipline referral rate of 19 per day. Now, I will tell you that I've been in a number of school districts. And it's important, first of all, to say that if we have discipline, it ought to be recorded, right? So you don't have much discipline if you don't go put it on the computer. So I get that side of people say, well, maybe you're not putting everything on the computer. It is our expectation if our children are in trouble that we appropriately note that. And I can tell you for a school district as large as ours, the average discipline referrals in a day is unbelievable. In some school districts I've been in, or certainly I'm aware of, they would have 21 discipline referrals before break. And so this is exceptional to see in a school district this large, this average discipline referral per day. And what are our top infractions? You'll see for 2016-17, students being truant from school, unexcused tardies, and defiance of our authority. So are our students coming to school? Yes, they are. They love us. And so in school year 14-15, 95.86 was our average daily attendance. 15-16, that was 95.94. And 16-17, that was 95.9. That's unbelievable. Again, many school districts in the state would love to break 85 or 90% of their kids on any one day coming to school. So I'm very proud of that. Let's talk about transportation for a minute, and I'm just you have an opportunity to look at 14, 15, 15, 16. Let me just look at 16, 17 with you. The number of students we transported in 16, 17, 6,230 students. That was 168 routes and 127 buses. Total miles we traveled in last academic year was 1,013,760 miles. And the annual cost of transportation to our school district during the last academic year was $7.9 million. That includes salaries, benefits, utilities, and the purchase of buses. So you may say, when I look at 15, 16, that was a pretty big jump of $800,000. So I went back to say to you, we bought 9 buses in 15, 16. We bought 19 in 16, 17. So that would give you a point of reference why that looks a little out of kilter there. In operations, again, you can look at 14, 15. Let's look at 16, 17 together. Our annual operating cost for our operations center is $7.1 million for last academic year. And by the way, they received 9,050 work orders submitted to them. And they address those work orders in a priority fashion and just as speedy, quick as they can get to them. Public relations and our media relations. Let's look at 2016-17. We had 413 media requests. We had 6 public records requests. And the district website page views, we had 1,618,926 page views. Down, if you will, from 15-16, remember some of that was a new superintendent was in town. I guess it really wasn't about me. But we were also talking about rezoning our school district, and that really generated lots of conversations and lots of people going to our website to look at maps and to have conversations with us. Talk about technology. You can see fiscal year 15-16 and 2016-17. Our bandwidth is 2 gigabytes, and it's currently 10 gigabytes. Give me an interpretation of that. So it's 10 gigabytes.
The Library of Congress every 4 to 5 seconds.
Wow. Okay. The number of wireless devices on our network, daily average is 24,500 devices on our network. The number of access points we have is 870. Technology work orders that were submitted last academic year 16-17, 21,688. And the number of documents that's created in Google Docs last academic year was 3.2 million. Yes, we're busy with IT. Child nutrition. Let's look at 16-17. For breakfast, we prepared 512,177 breakfast meals for our students. Our lunches served last year was 1.2 million. So the total meals for last year, our CMP folks served 1.7 million meals. The percentage of our students that's on free or reduced lunch kind of hovers over the 24 to 25% of our students. Our meals per labor hour is 14.7. And Melinda, what does the state expect on that meals per labor hour?
16.
16. So we're a little below the 16 meals per labor hour, which the state encourages. Our labor cost per meal, we will know that in March of 2018 along with our food cost per meal. That's data that's not released until the spring to Melinda from CMP at the state. And our district average health inspection scores for last year, that's all of our schools, every time they came in to visit our cafeteria, was a 99 score, and that's just exceptional. So appreciate that. Let's talk about more money, payroll. 2016-17, we spent $85,209,190.65 to be exact on salaries. For our benefits, we spent $34,715,388. Supplements, we paid $2,687,261 in supplements. And overtime, we spent an additional $106,051.50. Please compare over time how we've incrementally decreased overtime. I do want to point out 2015-16 is when we had the 4% state increase. And please note the column under benefits, which increases every year. That's generally PHIP or retirement. And even though many may say, wow, look at that supplement number, it is actually under what we had budgeted for supplements. Board members, you're also aware that we're looking at supplements right now. Who make supplements? Why do they make supplements? Are people who are doing similar work making the same supplements, or do we have disparity in what that looks like? And so we are looking at salaries and supplements even now, as you're aware. Personnel facts. Again, 17-18, we have 131 National Board Certified Teachers. We have 15 Jacksonville Hall of Fame inductees. We have 7 Alabama State Teachers of the Year. We have 4 individuals who are Milken Family Award winners. I think they're worthy of acknowledging. Ron Dotson's one of those. Just recently, Vinny Chiramonte was added to that. One of our principals, Dil Uswate. And I'm sorry, help me with the 4th one. Gilbert.
The 4th is actually gone to UAB.
Okay, and a 4th is going to UAB. The number of certified employees in our school district, 1,151, but look back up under that heading. The average daily attendance of our faculty is 95%. Again, that's exceptional, that on any given day, 95% of our certified employees are at work. The number of non-certified employees, their average daily attendance even is higher than that. 97% of them on any given day are at work, and we have 681 non-certified employees or support staff. The percentage of advanced degrees for our teachers, 78% of our teachers have advanced degrees with master's or higher levels. Financial, budget-wise, we've recently talked about this. Our FY16 budget ended with a positive balance of $534,528. Our FY17 ended with a positive balance of $27,552,694, and we talked about that, the 9.1 Jefferson County, the sale of the O'Berry property, so there were certainly reasons for that significant increase there. And the FY18, our original budget to you is the first in the last 13 years that reflects a positive balance from the actual introduction or the origin of that budget. Investments, we invested $50 million in 2017, and that has tripled our interest revenue. We are also looking at non-restricted cash, and that'll be reviewed for possible investment opportunities. Bonds in 2017, a bond was refinanced, which reflected a 50% savings in interest. Bond renewal in 2020, the principal payment, as I would remind you, is going to increase by $2 million annually. In 2020, we do anticipate refinancing before that due date of payment if the rates are such that they're advantageous to the district. I also am proud of the fact that last March, March 7th, ad valorem tax renewal for Jefferson County took place. It meant a significant amount of money for us, 1.9, 5.1, 13.6 million, 21 plus million, I believe there. And our Hoover residents supported that tax renewal at a 93% approval rate, and that's significant. That says that they're supportive of our students and what we're doing. And by the way, this is nice because these taxes are now secure for us for the next 25 years. I should say to you those amounts of money are based on 2015 receipts because that will fluctuate some. So that's our point of reference. Financial, capital outlay, as you're aware, 2017 we spent capital outlay monies on Simmons and Rocky Ridge re-roofing. 2017, as you know, we addressed our football turf and track surfaces. We also addressed Blunt Park awning. 2018, as you know, we're underway. We've already broken ground for our new band room addition. And in 2018, we also will be giving significant attention to the Career Center renovations. Just a reminder to you, over the last 3 years, we've bought and sold some property. In 2017, we sold the Berry High School for $11 million. 2017, we purchased the Pella Middle School for $4.2 million. And as you know, we've actually sold some properties in the vicinity of the Met to our city. And on the side of personnel but finances, I mentioned this a minute ago, salaries and supplements. We are working to be exceptionally transparent about our salary schedule, both our salary schedule and our supplements. It is our goal and objective to be fair and equitable in those schedules. In our salary schedule, we're reviewing existing salary schedules. We're also doing the same with our supplements. And another point of opportunity for us under the salary schedule is we're really taking a look at exempt and non-exempt status of our employees. So there's a lot of work going on the side of personnel and finances, and specifically our salary schedule and supplements. Federal funding. Our federal funding has increased in Title I. We have 4 Title I schools, Green Valley, Gwen, Rocky Ridge, and Trace Crossings. And we've seen a bit of a bump in that in Title I. Title II monies come to us for professional development, and we've seen that significantly decrease, as you'll see, over 3 years. Our Title III is for our English learners, and that too has decreased. And then our Carl Perkins, our career tech money, has increased about $2,000 if you compare it to 2 years ago. Unitary status. Our student assignment rezoning, just a reminder of what's happened in 3 years with that. Student assignment rezoning plan went to our court March 21 of 2016. We spent a day-long hearing with Federal Judge Madeline Heikla on August the 7th of 2016. We were preliminarily approved by the court on May 20th of 2016. And we did receive final approval, as you know, from the federal judge on December the 14th. So just to let you track what that's looked like over time. You know that there are other pieces of work that has to be done as it relates to unitary status. It's not just about a student rezoning, but we will also continue our work and study about extracurricular activities, our faculty assignments, our staff assignments, transportation, and our facilities. Probably a good point to say to you that our Department of Justice visited with us this last week. They spent about 2.5 days with us. We had lots of good conversations. We went out and visited a number of our schools. Our principal just did an awesome job in sitting down and sharing and talking with the Department of Justice about their respective schools. We didn't get to all of our schools, but I want to acknowledge our principals and what a great job they did in conversations. I want to talk a little bit about management in the school district. We started out at academics. We started out about students. That's what's really, really important. But there's a lot of management stuff that goes on in our school district, and you know, but I wanted to remind you nevertheless. Board policy. We've updated our board policy. We're now in compliance with all legislative action that's taken place today. We have a board policy committee. We have our AEA folks review any policies that we put before you, and we vet our policies through the School Board Association, particularly those things that come legislatively through the policy pipeline. And we appreciate Whit Cobbin and others who work with us in looking at legal matters in our board policy. We are working now on board procedures. There's a number of places in our board policy where it says the superintendent or designee will draft a procedure specific to this policy. And so we're walking through that policy manual, looking at places where we may need to establish some sort of procedure or pattern of how we would address certain matters. You're also aware that we've presented to you a strategic plan for a 5-year period of time, and there are 4 areas of particular focus in that strategic plan. That's our student growth and achievement, how we use our taxpayers' money, our state's money, use of our financial resources. We want to achieve unitary status. Step 1 is the rezoning plan, and we certainly want to strengthen our stakeholder partnerships. And I see us really, really doing that in earnest right now as we're working with our community on our career center. I also want to remind you that we're all about the community, and we want to continue to be. We had 13 community meetings when I came into the school district in 15-16. We had multiple strategic committee meetings last year, 2016-17. And today we've had 2 additional community meetings to just talk to our public about our ideas at the River Chase Career Center in the fall of this last year. We're also looking at job descriptions. You may recall in March 13th, 2017 board meeting, we brought before you updated 99 job descriptions, and you approved those job descriptions for us. That was a lot of work on Christy in particular, and the HR department, of course, with Mary. We continue preparing job descriptions for you, as this evening we ask you to approve some additional job descriptions. We have a new website, in great measure because we want to revamp the quality and the design and the functionality of our website, but also because we want to ensure compliance with Section 504 with the Rehab Act of 1973 and Title II of American with Disabilities Act of 1990. You're also aware that we've addressed matters with custodians and custodial services and lawn care. We actually eliminated custodial and lawn care services that failed to measure up to our standards. We are currently creating a staffing formula to support the number of custodians that are needed in buildings based on square footage and student population. And we continue discussing with the City of Hoover any opportunities that we might have to collaborate for savings to both the city and the school district, and specifically lawn care is being discussed. I want to also talk about New Beginnings. We moved New Beginnings students to their respective high schools. This came with lots of angst and pains, and a number of individuals stood at this microphone and told you what a critical error and good judgment that was, and I am happy to report to you that is not the case. I am happy to say to you that I went out to visit with those programs again this last week, or maybe it was 2 weeks ago, and talked to the students. They are enjoying being back at their school. I believe, and I have some principals who are here, and Mr. G, you can correct me. I believe all of your students are getting out of the New Beginnings room to integrate back into the school on at least one class period. So those students are finding their way back out of the New Beginnings to reintegrate themselves back out into the regular classroom. I believe that's important because when they were separated from their high school, they couldn't do that. So, they had to get ready and go back for the whole school day, or in this case, they're back at their school, and as they're able and desire, they can go back into classrooms. And so I'm pleased with the decision we made about New Beginnings. I know it was not popular, and not everybody appreciated that move, but I think if you were to go out and talk to those students and or talk to those 2 high school principals, I think you'll hear what I'm saying to you to be a testimonial from them also. We're also addressing mental health in our school district. We have a mental health committee, and they're focused on providing additional support for our students and also addressing bullying. So that brings me to this point to ask you at our February board meeting if you would please wear pink. I see Anna's in the back, and you are aware that we are doing Wear Pink to address the issues of bullying that goes on in our school district. I'd like to say that we don't have any of that, but unfortunately we do have bullying that happens, and we need to be thoughtful in addressing that. And I appreciate Anna and others who are pushing us to acknowledge this by wearing pink. Now, since you'll not be in school on February, what's our Wear Pink Day? 28th. I would ask if you would do that at our February board meeting. So we'll send a reminder, and hopefully we can all wear pink as a way of supporting that. Also in management, there are lots of other things, and I can't talk about it all night. I know that you're weary and tired, but we are addressing discipline matters in our school district. Once upon a time, board members, you got inundated with all kinds of discipline matters that I really don't believe was in the purview of your work. And so we've addressed that. I'm appreciative that we have a 2-year calendar, even though we can come back to the table and edit that calendar. I believe it helps our parents plan forward. When do we start to school, and when are the holidays, and when does school end? I think that's helpful to our families. Copiers may seem like an inconsequential issue, but for my principals who are still sitting in the room, addressing copiers was a pretty big deal, wasn't it? And I think what we've done has been to make that better for our principals. We've addressed discretionary money. I took a few pings on this one too, because the original thought was Dr. Murphy's taking all of our money away from us. She's going to leave us flat broke. Now what do we do? But I think what we did instead was to say, here's discretionary money, and maybe it's at your discretion, but it has to be at your discretion in terms of serving students in a purposeful way. And so my caveat was, here's not just some money so field trips or other things that you might want to do with it. Let's be intentional about focusing that money on serving children. Cell phones, Brian said to us, hey, there's a way to save money on our cell phones. And so most of our principals and assistant principals have gone to receiving a nominal stipend and having their own cell phone versus the school district paying more money to give them that cell phone. I think it's worked perhaps better for our employees. It certainly has saved the school district some money. We're asking now that every individual that leaves our school district does an exit interview with us. That gives us some good feedback about what did we do well, but hey, by the way, there are probably some things that you could suggest to us. Not everybody wants to do that. I guess they feel like they might burn a bridge behind themselves. But I really, really want people to tell us the good and the not good so that we can grow from that. And I believe exit interviews are a terrific opportunity for us to get that feedback. Field trips, we had to address what overnight field trips look like. And by the way, what about water events? Because our insurance has not always wanted to provide us insurance when we take students and they stay at a hotel and they go get in the pool, or they go to Dolphin Island and they get on a boat. So we've really had to manage and work on that process. We have our access roads for Hoover High School. I'm proud of the fact we have 2 access roads now leaving out of Hoover High School. The problem is they still dump into Stadium Trace, but at least we can spread the traffic out. Other management things, we've addressed student drug testing. I believe this last year, Dr. Simmons, or this year is the first year we've become more intentional and focused on drug testing with our students. We're not trying to catch kids, but we do want to, with reasonable cause, if there's a reason for us to address drug testing, we have that now in place. Time management system, we have Chronos. We are looking at some other opportunities that might serve us better. Use of purchase cards and how can you use those cards and how may you not use those cards have been a management issue. Cutting unnecessary overtime, you saw that in an earlier slide. We have now a fee for reproducing records and a form for requesting records. We have a map of all our land boundaries around all of our schools, not something that we had previous. We have capital outlay schedules for our roofs, for HVAC, and for painting. So in other words, the walls that get painted first shouldn't be those that come from principals who scream the loudest, but should come because we have a plan and a schedule for how we address that. We have also updated our bus driver manual, updated personnel manuals. We've addressed, even this evening, our after-school care. So these are some things that I would put under management for you. River Chase Career Center, the programs that we're looking at is building construction, specifically carpentry, HVAC, and electrical. Also addressing welding, culinary hospitality, fire college, and computer science. We also have a number of people coming to the table to partner with us. The Alabama General Contractors, Jeff State Community College, our city leaders, Leadership Hoover is working with us. Education Foundation, lots of good people coming to the table. It's at this slide, go back up, where I need to share with you publicly, board members, that we've worked diligently to be able to open this facility August of 2018. But in spite of diligent effort, we're not going to be able to do that. It will be an opening for August of 2019. I'm disappointed because I'm go, let's get it done. But part of what we have is even after we design this, it has to get to the state architectural folks. They're going to be deliberate and they're going to take time and give it attention. And we don't know what that period of time looks like. So by the time we could get approved, hit the ground with contractors and builders, assuming everything's perfect with the weather, it's so tight that we don't feel like that's the wisest course of action. So on the one side, I'm exceptionally disappointed because I wanted this to happen by August of 2018. But I believe there's some significant advantages in waiting because I believe we can then use the building as an opportunity to let parents see and students see the kind of center that we intend to create. We also need to spend more time saying to our students, what do you want? We need more time to identify the critical people to be in that building to help us get this balloon up off the ground in great fashion. So I feel sad, but I also feel a little relief because rezoning is big this year. And biting off rezoning and opening that career center was going to be a huge challenge for me and my staff and all of our personnel in the district. So I do want to say that publicly, that opening will be August 2019, not this fall. Personnel, I just want to remind you that we've had a number of hires over the course of the last 3 years. CSFO, Transportation Coordinator, Operations Coordinator, Assistant Superintendent, Instructional Support Services Director, Payroll Benefits Director. I've had the privilege to hire 5 terrific, along with the existing terrific principals, one at Spain Park, one at Trace Crossings, one at Bluff Park, Green Valley, and Greystone. Thank you. It wasn't there, guys. I don't know. Must be the call. And we also have created an organizational chart with some very defined duties so that if principals need to know to whom do I come, Ron, Tara, Kathy, who's going to help me, we've tried to be deliberate in defining those duties. So how's your superintendent spent her time in the last few years? I came to you on June 1, 2015. I would say the first year I spent significant time trying to get my hands around, my mind around unitary status and preparing that rezoning plan. By June 1 of this past summer, 2017, we were well on our way to putting that strategic plan. We had had lots of community meetings. I think we started out with 7 committees, and lots of meetings occurred to get us to a strategic plan. By June 1 of 2018, I hope that we're celebrating the implementation or the about to be implementation of the rezoning plan. A lot of work is in front of us. We absolutely want this to be a smooth transition for our children and for their families, for our parents. By June 1 of 2019, I'm hoping for that successful opening of the River Chase Career Center. That's all fine and well, but it's in the print at the bottom where your superintendent needs to get more thoughtful and purposeful, and where I need to spend more of my time and energy, and that is I need to focus more on mentoring and coaching, instructional support, and the academic growth of the school district. So all of that other stuff is good. It's important. It has its value, but I can tell you that I need to get more thoughtful about where we're leading all these leaders who will come after me and how we're supporting them and the instructional side of the house and academic growth. All right? So my immediate 4 next steps are these. We need successful progress with our strategic plan goals, that is student achievement, our finances, our unitary status, our community partnerships. We need successful implementation of our rezoning plan in August of 2018. We need a successful opening of the River Chase Career Center in August of 2019. And as a result of this presentation to you, I can tell you I'm even more convinced that this school district needs a data management system that allows us to keep data in real time for all of our departments. So when we want to take a 3-year review or a 5-year review, or we want to look at data points, we have a management system that allows us to do that. Right now, Chalkable doesn't talk to NextGen, it doesn't talk to anybody else. And so we, even for discipline, Dr. Simmons was sharing with me today that Julian in IT has to write programs. Now get this, has to write programs to help us pull certain data out when we want to look at discipline. That makes no sense. So we need to get a management system that allows us in real time to look at real data so that it's meaningful and it's purposeful and it's helping us make good decisions for children. And I believe we need a data analyst. Now, that may not be a full-time job. I don't know. I'll be subject to some conversation about whether that's a part-time, full-time, or whatever. But I do believe that we need a better way of managing these volumes of data. And somebody for whom we look and say, I need X, Y, and Z, and in real time they can produce that, versus, hey, I already got a full-time job. I'll do that when I can. And our people are so super. Everybody pitches in and helps. Matter of fact, I owe my entire staff an apology because I've consumed their day. I had a presentation for you on Friday. Over the weekend, I had this brainchild, and we've completely redone the presentation in short order today. They're all ready to shoot me probably. But we need to manage our data better, and we need an analyst to support us. And lastly, Here's why we do what we do. All of this is about the precious children in this school district that we are privileged and honored to have walk through our doors every day. It is about all children. It's about big kids and little kids, white kids, black kids, and every color shade in between. Children who are gifted, children who have exceptionalities, kids who are reluctant, kids who are struggling, great homes, not so great homes, socioeconomic, it does not matter. Here's why we do what we do. And while we may not get it right every day, board members, I can assure you that your superintendent's heart has a passion for those children and all the others that they represent. Thank you for allowing me to share this with you.
Thank you very much. Jason, can put this on the website for me? I caution everybody, when you look at this, the easiest thing, the tendency for most people is to jump right into a number and benchmark that number with what you think you know, or what you think that topic says. But I will caution you in the sense that behind those numbers are a tremendous number of variables, tremendous number of things that you and I don't know about, because it's an operational thing, and just something as simple as this report card thing. From a federal perspective, you know, they take all kids, right? And we have to, in a state perspective, they take just kids who completed a total academic year. Think about that. A highly transient district like we are, you got kids rolling in and out all year long, okay? Fed's looking at all that. State says, no, we can't tell how well you're doing until this kid's been in your school for an entire year. So be careful when you use the data, because, you know, I'm first to admit I can really misuse data without thinking through it very deeply. So if you got questions, there are plenty of people who can answer your questions, but they're great indicators, and it shows that we've got a great district. And Dr. Murphy and the staff, principals, everyone's doing a marvelous job. I know it's a struggle every day, because, you know, I tell my wife, who's a teacher and principal, I said, you know, I couldn't do it, because you got to show up ready to play every day. And when I was in the corporate world, you didn't necessarily have to be able to play 18 ball every day. Deference to Mr. Kermit there. 18 ball.
My friend Craig Pouncey said it well in a recent article, and that is our schools are more than a score on a day. There's so much more that goes on behind the scenes. So we do. Thank you for that observation. We need to be very careful to say on this day, here's how children scored, so this is your grade. And Craig said it well. And
but, you know, on the flip side of that, and again, to Dr. Murphy and her staff's credit, to pull this kind of information together for public disclosure is huge. And to take this information and say, we're going to do a deep dive into it. We're going to get more data driven, so we know where we stand. We know how great we are. We know what we're doing or not doing, or what needs to be done. Things change so rapidly. If you're not on top of where you are and where you're headed, you'll never get there. Okay, any other comments? No. There's no other further business. We are adjourned. Next board meeting will be on February 13th.
I'm sorry, did I miss that? On December, I do need to share with you, December the 8th, we were out for a snow day, and we need to make that date up. And so, due to dangerous wind chill in the single digits and some icy road conditions, actually, let me correct myself. Turn the page. So for the day that we need to make up on December 8th, due to dangerous icy road conditions, it was impossible to ensure the safety of our students on December the 8th, 2017. Therefore, school was canceled for the entire day. February 19th, 2018 was originally scheduled as a professional development day. To make up for the instructional day lost on December 8th, students will attend school on February the 19th. At least that's my request to you. The professional development day will be rescheduled for May 29th. So I ask your approval of that. I will also remind you that we were out 2 days this last week and a delay by 2 hours. We'll also have to file paperwork with the state on that, but we were under a state of emergency, and so we've noted that on the make-up day option for the state. But we do need to make up December the 8th, and my request is for that to happen on the 19th of February.
Good. We've got a motion from superintendent to make up the lost snow day, if you will, weather day, February the 19th. Do we have a motion on this request by the superintendent?
Second.
We have a second. Okay, thank you. Any questions from the board? Now, that is Saturday, you know that.
No, it's not.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor? All opposed? No. Thanks. Request is approved. Any more new business? Business, old business? We are adjourned. Next board meeting is on February 13th, 5:30 p.m. here in the Rock.
Hello, Dan. How are you?